Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Shred and Soul.
I'm Shred, aka Kevin Wood.
And I'm Soul, aka Wind Hughes.
Well, last week we did Cautionary Tales, and that was a good time. And that song's really good. I'm gonna make sure it's out there for streaming and downloads on Bandcamp, because I don't think it was included on an album. But yeah, that was fun showing you guys that and talking about it.
Yeah, it was fun talking about music that we did together, worked on together, and just sharing that with people, because it's a really cool song in our history. I love when art, music, any form of art is an expression. I love when the person, the artist, the creator shares their intention of what it was, and also the ability of individuals to make art what it is for them. So it's really interesting to hear other people's takes on things that I've done, that we've done, you've done. But this week, we're switching gears a little bit. We have some stories about occurrences that are happening out there in our world, on our planet, out in space, things that have us questioning what are we? What is here? Are we alone? Are there other people out in space? What are these multiple dimensions that we're seeing and objects appearing? So we're going to focus on two things. One is the sphere that has appeared on Earth out of nowhere in March of 2025, called I always want to call it the Buga Sphere. It's the Buga Sphere. So this mysterious sphere appeared on March, I think it was the early part of March this year, and it came out of the sky reportedly. People saw it coming down, there were videos of it coming down, and a man took it, and supposedly after he brought it home, he felt sick and nauseous the way someone would with radiation.
That's when he touched it, right?
Yeah.
And it was cold to the touch.
It was cold to the touch. And that's one of the things that's very interesting about this is the thermodynamics. It feels cold to the touch, and it generates heat of the equivalent of 100 watts on its own, a steady 100 watts, but it can change. And when water is placed on the top of this sphere, it evaporates as it would if it was hot.
But it's cold.
But it's cold. So the thermodynamics of this are very, very interesting. And they tested it. They took it now, and it's under guard, and they're testing it. And they don't know what the metal is. It's an unknown metal, and they're assuming that it's not something that's human-made, so they call it the mysterious metal. And they carbon dated it, but I want to mention about this carbon dating. They carbon dated it and said it was from 12,560 years ago. Now, one of the things in my digging a bit I discovered is that carbon-14 dating can't be done to metal. So what they actually dated was a resin around it. They dated the resin, and that dated to 12,560 years ago, and shows that the outside resin somehow could be a part of the origin of this sphere, but also could have been picked up on the dirt, could have been picked up somehow in the atmosphere. So they can't say definitively that that's how old the sphere is. They do know that the resin that was on it is that old.
Now, what was going on, you think, 12,000 years ago?
I don't know. Do you?
Dinosaurs?
Humans were supposedly here. So one of the things, they call it a seamless metal. And that's because there are no beginnings and endings. They can't find any seams in it at all. Even when they use X-ray and a certain kind of, what is it called? A thermography of sorts. And they see that there are multiple spheres, disks, inside of this.
Concentric.
Yes, concentric layers of different sizes. And they say that there's at least 3 metal layers inside. But again, there are no seams, no marks of cutting or seams. It has a high density. showing the density of a very high aluminum hardness of 330 HBs, and on the Brinell scale, I have no idea what that means, other than it means it's very hard, twice as hard as aerospace aluminum.
Well, now, was this thing seen flying through the sky and then it ended up landing, or did it just fall out of the sky?
People saw it coming through the sky, but I guess not from very far up. And then it changed color as it was coming down. Let me see if I can find the reports. Basically that it changed color when it was coming down, and then it landed very softly. There wasn't a crash or anything. And they ran over to it and found it in Colombia. And so this Buga Sphere has, like I said, no bolts, no seams, and it has these spherical layers inside, and it also has a solid hardcore center they're calling the nucleus, or a disk, because it also shows what looks like wires, filaments in there, so they're thinking it could be some sort of a disk. So this sphere, and it's not the first one, there have been other spheres before, is definitely not human-made as far as they can tell. It has strange thermodynamics in that it generates heat at 100 watts, but it also evaporates water as if it was hot on it. There are other interesting things about it too. It has, and we'll show you the picture, it has amazing symbols etched into the metal with precision. It would have to have been laser etched at a level that we're not capable of. And the symbols have been explored as to what they might mean. And there are symbols that are close to some ancient South American symbols, Celtic symbols, some Native American symbols, some Egyptian. There's this mixture of art symbols on it, as you can see when you look at the photo. And so some of the stuff has been explored by translation programs to try and determine what these symbols might mean. And they came up with a few ideas and interpretations of these. These are AI interpretation programs, and the majority of them come up with this. The guardians of the blue planet are referred to the Watchers. And the Watchers are telling us that we need to be in harmony, unite, reject division. That it's a call for global peace, stewardship, environmental stewardship, and there are rune-like lines representing unity, interlocking shapes versus conflict. So they're interpreting these using old Nordic, Celtic, Egyptian symbols, saying that some of them mean nurture the cradle of life, and they're interpreting that to urge conservation and honoring water and protecting our earth and the water. So it's basically guardians of the blue planet telling us to stop the conflict and to begin to live in harmony, a stewardship for global peace, nurturing the cradle of life, and that the Watchers will return when the veil is thin. So extraterrestrial observers calling themselves the guardians of the blue planet. And this is basically what the AI has come up with as a consensus, in a sense, of what these symbols might mean. And of course, there are people who are saying that they don't interpret it that way. But it's definitely, I think, something that's being looked at and accepted. And I also read, but I haven't seen anything to really confirm this. I read in multiple places that they've run the symbols etched on the outside of this metal sphere. I think it's almost a foot wide. And the quantum computers, not our AI computers, but quantum computing has read it as something similar. Remember we sent stuff out into space, a record of history and different things to tell us about the reality of our planet. They are seeing that as a similar thing, like almost a time capsule sent to us from the universe. And that it reflects quantum principles, of universal structure and quantum theory in those symbols. And it's almost as if they're showing us the black hole and the stargates, and that everything we'd need to know for life on this planet and having the mastery in this universe is contained in these symbols.
I think
in the communications.
We should open that thing up.
They said they wanted to, but they can't because they're afraid it'll destroy what's in the middle.
We should.
So check out how beautiful these symbols are. Just absolutely beautiful, and I have no idea what they mean, but very, very esoteric and symbolic. And here you can see the back side as well, which is very different from the front side, but again, really, really exquisite symbols. And I'd like to believe that the quantum computers, if those stories I read were true, actually unlocked that this was some of the secrets of the universe in there, because all of the principles so far were represented. But other than that, saying that there are guardians watching out for us, and they're coming at some point. It said when the veil is thin. Well, interestingly, Halloween, right? Samhain, which is coming up, is when the veil is thin. And does that in any way coincide with the end of October and the timing of the veil being thin and this comet that is coming our way?
The Atlas Comet. Now, there's been a lot of talk about, there's been a lot of talk about it, but it's interesting. These incredible phenomena are hardly talked about at all in mainstream.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing stuff. Actually, I don't know why it doesn't get any more notice, but we're talking about the Atlas Comet. What we're told is a comet. Now, there's a study that had been done by it's Harvard scientist Avi Loeb. He's made some notes about this. Now, this comet is coming from out of our solar system, and it's going to go behind the sun and back around and come close to the Earth. So we've been watching it, but it has some unusual qualities. The trajectory and acceleration does not match that of regular comets. And so, that means that its direction and the way it is accelerating doesn't match any models of what we've seen in normal heavenly bodies. And apparently it's missing the tail, the cometary tail. Now, that's very unusual, because when you think about a comet, you see the tail. And now this is supposed to be a comet and there's no tail. So,
yeah, in fact, the main lit area, instead of behind it, like most comets, is in the nose, is in the front.
Doesn't make any sense at all. And there's what they call anomalous brightness variation. So here's what it says. Satellite shows the object suddenly brightened 5-fold between May 7th and June 3rd, 2025, far exceeding the expected 1.5-fold increase based on its distance and travel. That's compared to other comets. And it is exceptionally large. This thing is 46 kilometers in circumference. And so that's huge, and it's way bigger than any of the other ones that we've seen.
Well, before this one, there were two others that were sort of anomalies in this way, one in 2017 and one in 2019. And this one is even beyond those, bigger, faster, and accelerating, at speeds that it shouldn't be.
And get this, the color that it's emitting is, it looks like it's possibly of some mechanical source. Here's what it says. High speed and color properties. Traveling at 60 kilometers a second relative to the sun with unusual color signatures. The object deviates from no natural interstellar visitors. These traits align more with potential artificial materials or propulsion. So people are saying that this could be a craft of some sort.
Yeah, you only see a lot of the lighting and what they find in the mixture of the tail and in the front on things that are not natural. So the chemistry of the trails, the chemistry of what's happening, the dust around it, doesn't fit what a natural object, typically, as far as we know, would have. Yeah, so then, what is it?
Yeah,
Let's talk about what they say it might be.
Well, Minister Brandon Biggs.
Oh, well, he's pretty extreme out there.
Yeah, but I thought it was interesting because, throughout time, and there's a record of this on paintings, on church walls, stories that are passed down generationally, scriptures of bright lights in the skies, and these are signs that the veil has been lifted and there's something coming from another dimension. And usually, the explanation in a religious context is that we're being visited by angels. We're being, given a sign that there's been a crossover in a spiritual way. Now, we don't know what is going on with this heavenly body that's going to, pass by. But this Mr. Briggs is saying that, according to his dream, this thing is bringing demonic spirits to the earth, and that this will be depositing these spirits amongst us. And it all ties in with revelations. And so basically, people are going to see this, they're going to go, oh, well, E.T. is real. And when it really is some dark spirits that are going to be involved in that final battle.
Well, let me interject, if I can, that this is the same Brandon Briggs. He's a minister, so he's not just some guy out of the blue. He's a minister that's been around for a while, and he predicted the assassination attempt of Trump. And he saw something going by his head and his ear, and he said this months before it happened. So he's seen as a current-day prophet with some credibility. And so people are kind of taking note of what he's saying, that this is actually going to come over the Vatican. That this is going to have people that appear over the Vatican, right? And that it's going to have, the Pope is going to be involved in some way, and that they are going to be speaking as if this is an angelic sign, and that these are of God, but it's going to be a false God, more like the Antichrist.
Yeah. Here's what this says. Biggs frames ships in the sky as demonic deceptions, trying into Christian eschatology where UFOs herald the Antichrist or Great Tribulation. I don't know if the Vatican symbolism is more symbolic than real, but it's just hard to imagine that there would be any credible power in the Vatican. I mean,
well,
and it would kind of line up with the fact that there could be a great deception, and that
I think that's why they'd be going over the Vatican, because people would believe the Pope.
Right.
So they're using the Pope in that way. And I think that it could be that there are beings, malevolent beings, that are coming in. Some people think that once this comet... So here's the timeline. Once this comet goes to the point where it comes out from behind the sun, that it could be a mothership. And there could be small ships coming... Doesn't this sound strange?
Yeah.
Coming out of it. So here's the timeline. October 25th, which is coming up, it's going to be on the other side of the sun. It moves behind the sun, so it's no longer visible to view from Earth. There may be other things outside from other planets that can view it, but not close. So it's going to go behind the sun. The sun will be between us and it on October 25th. And it stays behind there. I've read, I don't know if you've read, that on the 29th or 30th, that it's going to be really, really hot and potentially could break up if it is a comet. But if it doesn't, then it's expected to come out in early December from behind the sun and become visible to Earth again. So if something was going to happen, and there were some mothership and little ships come, that's when it would be, because it comes behind it. And then on the 19th of December, it's the closest to the Earth that it's going to be, which is still 170 million miles away. It's not like it's next door. But in universal space, that's not much. So it'll come out from behind the sun, suddenly appear again, and on the 19th, it'll be the closest to the Earth. So those who are saying, like the Harvard scientists, that there's a 40% chance that this isn't natural, that it's fabricated human or some being made this ship or whatever it is, it would be the closest to the Earth on December 19th, and that's likely when whatever it was going to do, it would do it. And
right before Christmas, huh?
yeah, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Isn't this the solstice and Christmas?
Yeah. So
Yeah, definitely things happening. And then in March, it passes Jupiter and then would be gone. So they know it's not from here because it's fast enough to not get caught in the gravitational pull, the orbits around the sun.
or the other planets in the solar system.
Yeah, it's just pushing right by them. It has its own force. So interesting. I mean, what if Brandon...
What if he's right on some level?
I've seen him interviewed before, and he actually has some very interesting things to say.
Yeah, ships in the sky over the eternal city. That's you can look that up too. There's a lot to it, and I think that one thing that we always have to realize is that any sort of interaction that we have on our planet or in our field of heavenly origin has an impact on us, no matter if it's aliens or spirits or anything else. The element itself will affect everything that comes near it and everything that it encompasses, since it's also interconnected. So we have that aspect of this.
So what do you imagine the energetic frequency effect of this moving through? Just like a sunspot moves through and there's frequencies emerge and there's an energetic pulsing. So if this comes through, you're saying it has a ripple effect energetically of some sort?
Yeah, but we don't know what that is. We don't know what this thing's made of. It doesn't seem like it's a real comet, and it could be a ship. It could be something that happens very infrequently on a natural level. But, when you think of it in a natural context, nothing really is natural because everything has a concept behind it, and everything is part of an unfolding of consciousness. So whatever idea is behind this thing and whatever intention it had, that will be played out and is being played out, regardless of whether we understand it or not.
So if I were to translate what you just said into this is a simulation terms, then, this program, like a video game, is happening, but there's an intent behind it.
Right.
So no matter what's happening here in this physical plane, which is illusory and not the only reality, it's really unreal on many levels. There's a intention, a reality, a universal consciousness, something behind it, and that this moving through is going to be infected. Well, that could be.
Yeah.
So we're either going to have demonic angels, which is, this isn't, Briggs does biblical terms in a lot of his prophetic visions, very biblical. So if you look at this in alignment with the, Armageddon and the coming of the Antichrist and the second coming of Christ and all what's in Revelations, we have these transitions that are going to be happening, and there will be a dark period before heaven on earth appears again. So if this fits into that in terms of timing, that fits the narrative.
Right.
Or it's a ship, and, well, actually, again, Revelations, the four horsemen, I've heard other biblical interpretations saying that the mothership will come and four small ships will emerge from it. And because the four horsemen appear out of the sky, that's what that will be.
Isn't there like a flaming flying chariot in Hindu mythology as well?
Yeah, here we come. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
And one of the pictures we'll show you is a flaming picture of this thing.
And he describes this as massive disc-shaped craft, saucer-like, 1 mile wide, glowing with ethereal blue light. In this image, of course, it's red in appearance, but you can see there's no tail. There's no. This does not look like any comet that I've.
Yeah. So we don't know what this is, and I think that what strikes me a lot about it is that there are a lot of things emerging, a lot of signs, a lot of prophecies coming true and emerging, a lot of objects like this, a lot of discoveries in terms of archaeology that show people here a lot longer than we ever thought, with technology way beyond what we ever imagined. We thought they were cavemen, and now we see advanced technology in these tombs. So reality is unfolding and emerging, which is very different than what the consensus has ever taught us. And for me, in my experience, as you know, these other dimensions and worlds are more real than this one. So it doesn't surprise me in any way that what's self-evident to me will start to emerge and be seen. But I think when you talk in terms of, the average Earth experience, it's pretty mind-blowing that these signs, this proof scientifically, and the quantum capabilities now are showing us things that will radically change how we live on this Earth. I think significantly, and some of it for the not so good as we emerge through the dark times with AI, I think, and transhumanism. But I also think that at some point, potentially, we can move beyond that and come to this period of heaven on earth, just a way of living that transcends the division and the conflict, as the sphere symbol supposedly said. The Blue Guardians are watching, and they want us to stop the conflict, stop the division, nurture and be custodians of our earth and live in peace, and that they will be coming back through the veil. So some people might say that these are the beings who've been here before, long before us, that were highly evolved and highly technologically capable, and said they would return. And so this could be that. The sphere is saying that when the veil is thin, and it's getting thinner and thinner, time is speeding up. There's a lot of anomalies now in terms of the physical science of the world that are signs that these things are changing. So as the veil's getting thin, or the 31st of October when the veil's the thinnest, whatever that term means, the here and now or in a longer term, something is emerging, and our lives are going to be very different.
Yeah, whether we know it or not.
Yeah.
Or it could be Santa Claus, and if you're not good, you're
That's
not going to
what it
get
is.
twice.
It's coming close in December. It's going to emerge as Santa Claus.
That's what I
on
thought.
a sleigh. That's what it is.
Santa Claus and his reindeer, his flying reindeer.
Yeah. There's a lot more. I mean, I'd love to talk more about these. There's so many other things occurring that you hear about and you read about, and then sort of disappears. People don't talk about it anymore. But I think it is an exciting time. I think we potentially might have some darker times before the better ones, and hopefully we all survive to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, and dig into this. Look up 3-eye Atlas. So the letter I, 3-eye Atlas for the comet, if you haven't heard about it before. And then the Buga Sphere, and look at the symbols and see what's being said about that. And our next episode, which is going to come out right before Halloween, will be on Samhain, the Celtic tradition, and we may do a Halloween ritual and just have some fun with that.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
And we'll keep you up to date on what we see and hear about this gigantic spaceship that's going to be depositing demons on our planet.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for being here. We love hanging out with you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.